We will not be held responsible for any hearing impairments or damage caused to you from excessive exposure to this sound.
We have a ton to discuss on Sackhead's radio show. Off to my right, brains of the operation.
Why not? Why do I always have to be off to your right?
Because we tried it the other way, and I kept saying off to my right.
We're sitting in a circle.
Well, we're facing each other.
That's what I mean. So I guess I could be on your left.
It's a circle, and it's two of us.
Listen, if we are straight across from each other, we are in a circle.
We're actually in the triangle because our
we are in a triangle.
Our new engineer, and he'll be call screening this evening, is here with us tonight. So say hi to Rocket Taco if you call in. He is the hairy Armenian we love. So a lot to talk about. We have to talk about the debate. I think that most of the show. We're going to cover a little bit after the debate. Hobbs came out today. We'll talk about that briefly. And more importantly, me being the sportsman, I have congratulations to the Oakland Athletics for winning the AL. I pulled it out at the last minute, and my good friend Clint, I tip my hat to your team.
Well, thank you. You're wearing your Boston headphones, but as a baseball fan, it's really not. As a baseball fan, like most Boston Red Sox fans, thank you for that. I was surprised when Oakland Athletics swept who lost the Wild Card to Baltimore. You know, I think Oakland got into their head, and Texas, I believe, because they were completely stunned after being taken by the Oakland Athletics, who were down. How many came they down in June? Like 13 or something like that. It was a major comeback. And nobody guessed that they'd win. They have a payroll in Major League Baseball. I enjoy watching one of the three. They always look like very with talent and organization, and they set the square off against Detroit in the American League Divisional Series. And I guess tomorrow it's going to be on New York. You're on.
I'll naturally be rooting for Baltimore because that's just him.
Oh, as will I.
And I know you guys are playing Detroit. I do have to note that for the first time since Carly Yastrzemski did Miguel Cabrera won Triple Crown.
Who?
Well, keeping in mind how he enjoyed the sport in general, a major achievement.
I think that's an excellent achievement.
Yeah, being a home boy, played for the Sox in the 60s.
Not a second.
What?
We have Reddick now. He was he not a Bostonian Red Sox?
Yeah, no, he was.
Okay.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I'm just
why are you trying to change the subject?
You're throwing all this talk to somebody. Hey, I'm ball. Let's keep it about Oakland right now.
With you, it's always about Oakland.
Well, only with baseball.
Yeah.
Not with football.
No, well, that's because.
I have a pet peeve.
Okay, go ahead.
I was to Disneyland the last couple of days.
Right.
And listen, I hate to break it to you. If you're fat, you're not safe. Okay? So there's this program at Disneyland where we'll go kart or get in a line. And I swear, coming off the Pirates for the disabled line longer than their line to get in. And more than 50% of the people were just morbidly obese individuals in these rascals. Now, hang on a second.
And
I saw plenty of pregnant women with 3 kids
Yep.
in line with their kids, and I guarantee you that they have problems, knee issues. It's harder for them to move around, and they can stand in line. But because you decide to eat a freaking Twinkie instead of grabbing a salad or something, no, not you, just in general, it doesn't give you the right to cut in line or go and say, oh, yeah, I'm too freaking fat, so I can't get in line.
I did have a Twinkie though today.
I was so irritated. Well, now, again, if you have a legitimate negative, another thing. Oh. No, hang on. So this lady, animals, right?
Well, let me chime in on the first.
No, hang on, I'm still going. You can chime in here. Listen, Obama. So, so this lady had a service dog. It was a Scotty. You're Scotty?
Yes.
You ever seen a Scotty service dog? Yeah, me either. Service dogs, they're real well behaved. Right? Right. Growled at kids. Right. She was in a rascal, and she about 9,000 pounds.
It's a therapy dog.
Oh, it was a therapy dog. Yeah, I had to keep it. No, I was just freaking barking at kids, and I was so irritated. These 2 guys. It was supposed to be midnight.
I ran into before my father passed away, he was in a wheelchair, double amputee. Every grandchild that turns 5, the whole family would go down to Disney World on the other coast as the 5-year-old celebration. Everybody would go, cousins, whatever. We'd have a mass of people. My father still enjoyed riding some of the rides, double amputee in a chair, felt bad going in the front of the line. He did because we made him.
Right.
But we would get stuck behind people on the handicap line who, like you said, were not necessarily handicapped, but they were just obese. It's crazy that my old man, who legit had his legs chopped off below the knees. I wanted to point that out. I just didn't want you to think anything accident.
Or you.
Or me. And it did. It drove me crazy. And
I heard more than one of these.
I'm not thin.
I'm morbidly obese.
I think technically probably.
No, I don't think so.
However, the simple fact is, at some point you have to own it instead of giving up.
Yeah, or has integrity. I actually heard more than one. I actually heard more than.
It's almost this. Oh,
this is my turn to be pissed off right now. Nice stick on the pen. I actually heard more than one say that it was the greatest thing going. That you have to do is say that they can't stand in line and they don't even question it. I was sitting there laughing and mocking about it. I was like, "Are you kidding?"
It's just another way that we find in this. You know, it's bad when we find loopholes in Disney World in this country. We can't even wait at Disneyland and Disney World rides.
You said wait. Is that a double entendre?
We have to find. I wish I was intelligent. We have to find a way around, and it's just insane to me.
And look again, and there were some people there that and yes, I'm not sitting here saying that I can tell that everybody in the wheelchair, because I can hear it now. Oh, you can't tell what their medical condition is. Listen, when they have a freaking Twinkie stuck a freaking face and they're laughing about how they got over, I can say it. I'm so upset right now. I was so wow all this whole week just seeing that. You can tell. I couldn't wait to come on the show and talk about it.
I can obviously tell.
I was so angry.
So we obviously have a lot to talk about tonight. We do have a guest tonight, Andrea Kaye. We started talking about the debate in about 10 minutes, so that'll be fun. We'll talk to Andrea in a little bit. Where do you want to start?
I want to get back on this tangent here about it's that whole entitlement mentality. Seriously.
You got it. Jim?
Really? What hour? When by 10:30 and did the right thing. So what was like? There was no responsibility for the actions or there. Stop right in front of the you have to say that there was one thing that I saw there every day that I was very impressed with.
What's that?
The Disney folks at 5 o'clock. We started at about 4:45 in the main square there, the entranceway to Main Street. They actually had an honor guard and would retire the colors every evening, and they would say the Pledge of Allegiance. And they are, and I was impressed with that. What I was very unimpressed with and actually made me sad is how many people walked by and just completely ignored it. There were literally a handful of people that would rush the flag lowering firing ceremony and actually put their hands on their hearts, Pledge of Allegiance. I actually saw a few couples, a few people like their kids stand and with their hands over their hearts. But it was almost sickening. How many people just walked by, didn't care, walked in front, were being obnoxious, boisterous, and
I get to a point when it's somebody from another nation who don't even know what they're doing. I don't know.
No, this wasn't that.
When it's an American family, it drives you absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, excuse me, I recently moved, as we've discussed before, and one of the things that I do at every house I live at is I put up an American flag. And because it wasn't lit the first couple of nights, I kept taking it down. I eventually got lighting for it, so I would be following by the law. Okay. And I also watch the weather. And if I know it's going to be inclement weather, then I'll pull it down and I'll do the right. But I drive, when we leave the studio late at night, often 2 in the morning, I drive through the neighborhood and it drives me crazy how flags I see. And some on businesses that aren't lit, some that are on houses that aren't lit. And it's just that flag stands for all our freedoms, all the people that perish protection those freedoms, everything in this country, right or indifferent, the flag stands for it. And it should always be respected.
I've seen that in the flag flown inappropriately with burned out and whatnot on government buildings, state of California buildings, and on state properties. Yep. It's sad. It's pathetic, and I've brought it to a couple times, especially if you're talking about a government building. I'm one of those knuckleheads that actually, call and say, hey, lights burned out on your. I am, but I wanted to bring about I complained on one hand about the whole Disneyland thing, and I understand that he can't ask what the facility is, but something has to be done because that's ridiculous. But I wanted to bring it back about something positive, and I was very impressed with the fact that they did that, and they did that every day at that time.
I'll tell you, I've been to Disney a bunch of times. I have sons and nephews, and I was impressed by that as well. So I'm glad you had a good time. Let me ask you a question. I got to change subjects real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to ask you this question: how much do you love the United Nations?
No, I'm sorry. Love or loathe?
How much do you love the United Nations?
You say love or hate?
I think I said hate, didn't I?
Hate? Yeah, a lot. I love them not at all. Matter of fact, I think hate would be very accurate. I think hang on, drain of money, taxpayer resources. Yeah, did I sum it up last week when I said Pakistan?
Sure. However,
okay.
Because of that, and as we've discussed many times, our disdain for the United Nations and how we think.
No, hate. Just say disdain. Let's not sugarcoat things.
All right. So we all know they're scumbags.
Yeah.
Okay. So you now have a place to go where you can sign a petition that will be forwarded to Congress.
Right.
For us to end our membership in the United Nations.
Us meaning Sackheads Radio?
No.
Because we're not the United Nation. Are we going to send Sacco as a delegate?
Yes, Sacco is our delegate.
Okay.
You can petition have us not only end our membership, pull off funding, ask them to leave, which is sponsored by that Kids Radio Show. And I have to thank our good friend Rooster at .net. He and I did some of I did what I wanted, and because he is way more intelligent than I, much like yourself, he wrote a majority of it for me. We collaborated on it, and it is now up. If you go to kidsradio.com, you can sign the petition. We've got a few signatures already, but we haven't really announced it until tonight.
Yours and Rooster's don't count.
No, it's over that, believe it or not.
Really? They're sweet?
Yeah, absolutely. And for people who don't want to know their name, I think there's 4.
Okay.
You can sign it and then click anonymous so it won't show you on the...
Then what's the point?
Wait, on the server. You won't be able to see names and addresses, but when we forward it to Congress, your information will be there.
Now, who are we sending it to in Congress?
I am going to forward it to all whoever at the time, because my goal would be to do it after the is installed and the changeover.
Installed? Like a lug nut or what? Or like a wing nut? Anyways,
so I'm going to forward a copy of it to the White House.
Now we talked about this.
I'm going to forward a copy of it to the Senate and a copy of it to the representatives.
Now we talked about this.
Yes, we did.
And we thought, what do you think is going to happen with this? We talked about this, but let's get on what do you think is going to happen with this?
I know nothing's probably going to happen, but you know, it'll bring awareness. It'll bring awareness.
Who's going to pick it up, do you think? Let's hey, it's on record. Who's going to pick it up?
Are you going to be a Tea Party here?
Let's go with one.
So if anyone out there is a Tea Party candidate, I don't know, say Karen Harrington, or somebody's got it, by the way, has closed the gap insanely on Washington Schultz. It's now within the margin of error the last time I looked.
Awesome.
We wish her well.
We do. I'm sure that you wanting to pull completely out of the United States and send a petition to her is completely over in that race. Good job.
No,
but, hey, wait up.
That's not anyone else's. That's our idea. I'll shop it around. I'm sure we'll find somebody who will go.
I actually have compiled a list of a few people I think will actually take it somewhere.
So if you are listening right now, if you're listening to the podcast, do us a favor, go to SackheadsRadio.com. The link is on. You can go ahead and sign the petition.
How many signatures are we trying for? I say we shoot high. Let's go for 10.
I'm going for 100,000. We're actually past 10. Last time I checked it like 15. Not past 10.
It is past 1,500.
What?
15,000.
You're going to start somewhere, right? At some point, it has zero no matter what.
No, I think this is a great idea. You know, even if it's 15, we need to spend it on.
I don't have delusions of grandeur. We know that it will most likely not go that far. But I want an awareness to our government, how we feel as a nation about the United Nations.
Or at least how 15 of us feel.
I don't care if it's 20. I'll still forward it.
Yeah.
Actually, we're getting some good feedback on it on Twitter. We get plays on it on Twitter. So if you know somebody that hates the UN as much as we do, and they want to...
I don't think we're going to find anybody that hates the UN as much as I do.
Hold on. Our engineer is interrupting for the first time ever.
So, yes.
Question?
You're live on radio.
Go ahead, Saka. Those of us who don't know you hate the UN. You need to listen to
the show more. Why did we hire you as an engineer if you don't even listen to the show?
That's why I hired him.
Oh.
I'd rather have him just do the work.
Okay.
Listen, I don't want him to dazzle around and think he...
Hello, sackheads. They don't see our face anyway.
I know, but he doesn't have to wear one. We do. No, and everyone knows just the fact that they completely ignore anything the country wants.
That's their goal.
Like Agenda 1 and the Small Arms Treaty and stuff like that, where they're trying to impose this world government and take away our sovereignty as a nation. There's a million more reasons. Go back well beyond when China was taken over by communists and they submitted to the People's Republic of China, and nobody stood up all the way through.
Excuse me, hang on. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. That is not China. It is China. So we apologize to China for mispronouncing your country's name, but my dear friend speaks Bostonian. Okay, go ahead.
I barely speak it. You know what somebody said today? Have you ever seen the movie Snatch with Brad Pitt? I said, yeah, and he's the yard.
I saw a completely different version.
Right. But
what?
He speaks really fast and like kind of garbled, and they're like, you talk just like him. And if you ever see the movie, I do talk. I couldn't argue with him. You know, and I'm like, well, you kind of.
Yeah, which version? I
talk. I have a mouthful of marbles.
Really? That's the same version that I saw.
So,
yeah.
Well, on that note,
let's take it. When we come back,
hopefully, we will get into the jobs bill, and hopefully Andrea will call in, and we will go from there. So we'll be back. Right now.
you doing? John Grant here. When I'm not slaving over a hot microphone on the 405radio.com Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, I check out Shaun and Clint here at Sackheads Radio. We all appreciate the best political bloggers, writers, and commentators. We either get them on our shows or we make fun of them, as it should be. So check us out live Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern or forever on the podcasts on the 405radio.com.
Hey folks, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank the men and women of our armed forces, as well as our first responders, law enforcement, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for making this country and our communities a better and safer place. God bless.
Hi, this is Sarah Marie Brenner. You know, we often talk on the Brenner Brief about the fact that there really needs to be an organization to help people at the local level who are interested in running for things like school boards, city council, and other local offices. Well, I think I finally have the solution for you, at least for you women out there. It's called Politigal Network, Politigal Network.com. Their website's going to be launching mid-August, but they're already on Twitter at PoliticalUSA. I encourage you to follow them and become a member. Their goal is to be the #1 resource for conservative women. So if you love freedom, liberty, the United States of America, and politics, check out PoliticalNetwork.com or Twitter at PoliticalUSA.
Hey guys, it's Shaun from Sackheads Radio. I know I've said it before. Check out our friends at conservativeoutcry.net, but I really mean it. If you want interesting and exciting political commentary and analysis, that is the place to get it. Different, always spot on, always truthful, never pulling a punch. conservativeoutcry.net. Tell Rooster to get Bulldog back on and that Sackheads Radio sent you. And also, coming soon, the Sackheads Radio Forum on conservativeoutcry.net.
Hey guys, it's Shaun from Sackheads Radio. I want to talk to you a minute about our friends over at HomefrontHugs.com. They're an amazing organization of volunteers who take their time, effort, and money to take care of our troops overseas as they serve our great nation. HomefrontHugs.com. You can donate, write letters to troops, adopt a troop, you name it, you can do it. Help those wonderful folks who protect our freedoms. Go to HomefrontHugs.com. Tell them Sackheads Radio sent you.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank our men and women in uniform of the armed forces. Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank our men and women. Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank the men and women of our armed forces, as well as our... God.
You going to mention me this time?
Thank you, Shaun. Good? You said mention you, right?
Oh.
You totally need to keep that as an outtake.
Now back to Clint and Shaun on Sackheads Radio, radiating elegancy and quality.
And sorry about that. That would...
Oh, what? Don't apologize. Let's just get back. Welcome back.
Wait, welcome back.
I can't hear anything. It said I'm muted, but I can't hear anything. You lose your connection?
There we go. And now with that.
Hey, welcome back. I think the government tried to shut us down, but we overcame.
Well, we always get shut down.
Sorry about that.
What? Stop apologizing. Listen, they can fly the drones over. They can try and shut us down, but it didn't work.
Not this time, maybe not next time, but not this time.
That's what I don't even know what that means.
What?
What?
Well, we're in a security bunker. So they tried and failed. I don't know what happened. I have no idea. Hey, guess what? The jobs report came out this week.
Yes, it's we're close to the election. Now, who puts those job numbers out?
The U.S. Government Department of Labor.
U.S. Government Department of Labor. And who is the head of the department? Who appoints them?
The president?
Okay, so we're getting close to the election, so I'm going to guess the jobs numbers are under 8?
What? How did you know that?
I'm guessing.
Well, it is under 8. It's 7.8%.
Nice.
So,
hey, you know what? He's doing a great job then. We need to really...
and he didn't do great in the debate. No,
I thought he did awesome. I didn't think that could have gone any better.
Jobs numbers come out, and all of a sudden, the numbers dropped to under 8% for the first time since his presidency.
Now,
completely weird.
It could be legitimate.
It could be legitimate.
We don't know. It could be legit. It's interesting timing.
It's such interesting timing. And so everyone's upset. Alan West went on, and I don't have the clip right now. He was on
Real good.
ABC pretty much calling BS on it, essentially saying that the numbers are being cooked. Jack Welch, who's the former CEO of General Electric, he got on it, and he got on Twitter, and he essentially said, well, you know, it's just old-fashioned Chicago politics at work here, and put books to what they need versus what the reality is. And the other thing with job numbers, as we know, every single one that comes out, they always get adjusted. And so the true numbers will come out here shortly. Your take on that?
You know, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not. It's interesting.
Right.
But to be fair, I don't know. And, you know, the Labor Department has not been adjusting the books or the numbers for the last 3.5 years. I think that it's interesting, especially given the economic status where we've been.
Yeah.
But I can't say for sure. I'm not ready to call complete BS on it without more information, more data. The Congress West is in a better position than I to have that data. But I think it's interesting as far as I'm willing to go on it right now. Because, hey, they may be legitimate. I mean, 7.8%, it's not like it drops to 5 or 6 or even to 7.0, you know. It's hovering just right at 8 still. 7.8% is still right about 8. I mean, it's under 8, it's under than 8 something. But we'll see.
Well, what has happened notoriously in the past is the numbers come out, and then and this happened just after the DNC, and then a few days the adjustments are made because they get info that they didn't have, and I don't know why they release it. I'll just never understand that. But and then they adjust it. I think last time it was 2%. Rooster and I talked about today. So this number is great in the sense that, all right, it's 7.8%. It's better than it has been. It probably won't be the final number. I'm not saying it's going to be over 8. It might be 7.9. I think last time it was.
Hey, look, there's one more set of numbers that's going to come out before the election. And bottom line is, if unemployment is truly dropping, then good. I mean, I don't believe this president deserves another shot. It's taken him 4 years to get here, and the economy is still a shambles. Gas prices just 30 cents a gallon, literally overnight. So over where we are is. So, you know, I'm not ready to celebrate. I don't believe this president deserves another shot, especially when he says that he's going to, you know, cut the deficit in half, and then he, you know, doubled it. But, you know, if the country is in fact turning around, those are the real numbers, then good.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, I'm hoping people back to work. Everything I've read and saw today said that based on the numbers that they said they're adding, the exact numbers, it doesn't outpace regular growth when people are coming into the workforce. And so they said that number may not add up as it should, so we'll see in the next couple of days. Speaking of the debate.
Who's speaking of the debate? We were talking jobs numbers.
No, I just segued.
I'm sorry. Hey, the debate?
Yeah, I saw it. You know who else saw the debate is our good Andrea Kaye, who's on the line with us right now.
Well, let's bring her in. Why are you having her on hold?
I waited too long.
That's just rude.
Andrea, I'm so sorry. I have you on hold, and obviously
that's okay. Hey,
Andrea, how are you?
I'm awesome. I'm just chill, sitting here enjoying listening to you boys talk about the job numbers in this job report today.
Nice.
My first question for you, Andrea, is what are you paying for gas right now in California?
What am I paying for gas? Well, after I push my car to the gas station, because I've been avoiding having to go and actually pump gas, I'll probably be paying upwards of over $5 a gallon of gas. So, you know, it's going to be up to $6 a gallon here shortly.
I know in San Francisco they were having trouble having enough fives to match the gas price on the pump. So what they were doing is they were spinning two around. So that tells you that how bad it's getting.
They were putting S's up there. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I would do.
That was our man on the street, Clint, with the exact report.
Well, you guys have a man on the street? Gosh, you guys have a big budget now. Sackheads has a crew, right?
We do.
I tried to do a man on the street bit, and this is a good story before we get back to jobs. So this week, because I was in the Sacramento area at the time, and Sacramento just passed a city ordinance that really kind of affected the Occupy movement. So everything I heard, there were people come up from New York because they were limiting the time, place where they could do things because they were being so loud, interrupting businesses. A complete content-neutral city ordinance was passed. So I said, hey, I'm going to do the man on the street thing. I grabbed my little recorder and I went out. I figured I'd interview some of the occupiers and get their response. So everything I heard is that we're going to have people from New York. It was going to be, they're going to start really ramping it up. Now that the anniversary is over, they could start inviting people from elsewhere. I got there and there was a guy named Mike, and that's not an exaggeration. There was one guy with like 50 signs, and that was the entire. And I talked to him for like 10 minutes, and to my luck, I got the one who was actually a nice person. He wasn't out of his mind yelling at me and all that stuff, and he was actually reasonable when we talked about the city ordinance, and I didn't even record it because it wasn't worth playing. But he was just like, no, I kind of understand why they have to do it. And the movement's upset, but no, I get it. People have to go to work. And I was like, are you even an occupier? Like,
he's like a one-man band. He's there by himself, with all, instead of like all the instruments, he's got like 50 signs, Good for him. He's committed. Good for him.
So the one time we tried to do something, and it turns out to backfire as usual.
You know what I don't understand is if this movement seems to be pretty anti-colonial and don't like occupying forces, so why are they occupying anything?
Pick a better name.
Yeah, exactly. We don't like occupier. Why not? Because we're occupying Afghanistan and Iraq, and we're occupying. Well, okay. Well, what are you doing? Well, I'm occupying.
Right.
I mean, come on, really?
What do you occupy? Well, right now, Park.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it's probably going to be City Hall.
It's called Occupy Wall Street. Yeah, but there's no Wall Street here, so I'm just going to occupy this tree.
Right. It's like, what are they protesting? I mean, it's like they're protesting, their very essence. It's like Joan Rivers protesting plastic surgery. It's ridiculous. So.
Well, and I talked to the guy, and he pretty much said to me that, to his knowledge, the Occupy movement, every single city now is completely autonomous. They don't have any central. They know have a central office somewhere in New York in an office, which I think is just completely ironical.
Right.
And that was after they met in the bottom of the Deutsche Bank, God knows how long. And they do have a hierarchy. And I looked at them and I said, you realize this was everything that the Occupy movement was against? And he just kind of was like, like he didn't even have an argument for me. So it was a waste of time is what I'm getting at, Andrea. We waste a lot of time here, and that was certainly a big waste.
Mhm.
So
hey, speaking of an Occupy movement, do you think Martha Raddatz, the next debate moderator, you think her front door's been occupied? You think she's had somebody make some visits to her, have a little talk with her?
Yeah, I have a feeling that some very interested people on the left may have went and had a little discussion with her. Now, I can't confirm that, but it would stand reason because one of my biggest things, I didn't think Lira was all that bad as a moderator. If anything, I think he kind of gave Obama an out a couple times, or cut him off when he was dragging a little bit. And I don't think that was by design. I just think that was the way it happened. But at the end of the day, they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that he doesn't hammer it as bad as he did last time.
Look, I just think it's awesome that Romney looked right at the moderator and said, yeah, I know I'm going to cut PBS. That was great.
Let's say that again? What, I couldn't hear?
Romney looked at the moderator who works for PBS and says, yeah, no offense, but I want to cut PBS funding too.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite lines of the night. Although now that's like what the left has latched onto, though. Now it's like save the big bird. Okay, now we have a new, in the class warfare campaign. Now we have a new protected class, right? We've got the stuffed animal, TV character class, right? That's now, endangered and threatened by the conservatives.
Well, yeah, because really, if you get rid of Sesame Street, you have all those puppets that are at work.
Exactly. I mean, okay, tell me why the public is spending taxpayers' dollars on a TV show. I mean, what's next, the Kardashians?
Well, yeah, and I think it was Ari Fleischer had a good tweet today, and he said, why didn't Sesame Street ask Dora the Explorer how she's so successful? And Rooster actually had, from Conservative Outcry, had a pretty good one, too. He said, if somebody gets public funding, he sells billions of dollars of toys, that big bird. And it just goes to show you that, they don't need all the help necessarily they get. They spend it, but they don't necessarily need it.
Well, it's like Romney said. I mean, it's kind of like if I go to the mall, and I see a Prada handbag that costs $500. If I don't have the cash to pay for it, if I've got to put it on my credit card, I mean, do I really need the Prada handbag?
Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, if that's the question, yeah. Especially if you have the shoes. I mean, really. Am I wrong?
Right. I mean, well,
Thank
exactly.
You.
Because it's really all about the shoes. I mean, you could go with a knockoff bag. You got to have the shoes.
Absolutely.
I would not be surprised how many bags the Clinton has.
A man who understands shoes. I love it.
I do.
I've seen him with a purse. So let's talk.
No, it's a satchel.
It's a purse.
It's not a purse.
You have a man purse? You have a man purse? Oh, no.
No. I'm wearing Ariat cowboy boots right now. Do you really think?
What kind of cowboy boots?
Ariat. The running boots.
Okay, well, that's cool. That's manly. That's manly.
Yeah. I don't have a purse, but if I did, it would have a shoulder strap.
Hey, Andrea, it matches it.
Yes.
It matches it really, really well.
So, I think it's nice that sometimes his eyes match all three. So that's good. So, talking about the debate, is this, Andrea, in your opinion, and Clint and I actually, during the show, we haven't really given our opinions back and forth yet, so I'll get his reaction for the first time. Is this the Romney that you think all the conservatives were hoping to show up?
Well, I think he was the Romney that everybody was, in terms of the energy and dominating the conversation and dominating the room and coming out on the offensive. I mean, I think that there's some conservatives that are looking at some of, the items that he mentioned, and, I think there's some conservatives that feel like he did a brilliant job, even if they don't feel that necessarily some of the policies were as far right as they would like. But clearly, this is the guy in terms of being on the offensive and dominating the discussion and just putting a smackdown, a beat down on Obama. That's our guy.
Yeah.
You guys agree?
Well, yeah, and when you say dominating, you just control as much as, or getting his points across, whether we agree from a conservative point of view or not.
I think, look, he beat him up with facts. I mean, Obama would say things that just flat out were not true. For example, he tried hitting Romney with the $5 trillion was going to add to the debt, which is not true, and Romney just hit him over the head with up with facts, and he did so in a very effective way. And I may not agree with all of Romney's policies. However, the way he presented his case was, in my opinion, more articulate than the president. He gave more specific and better examples of not only how the plan would be more beneficial, but how the president's plan have failed. Specifically, they were talking about, and I think we have the clip, when they were talking about energy and the tax break that the oil industry has received versus the taxes breaks and tax dollars that have gone to some of the Obama administration's pet projects in the energy sector. So I think that Romney was very effective in the debate, very effective in framing his arguments, articulating his position and why he has his positions through facts, not only to back up his position, but to show why the administration's position is failing or is flawed. And so I think he did a very good job, again, without agreeing with everything the man said.
Right. I mean, I think that he was a master. He proved that he is a master at business. He's a master at economics. He's a master at facts and figures. And he is a chief executive. He is everything that Obama is not. Obama somehow managed with smoke and mirrors to convince people that someone who had absolutely no training, no skill, no experience in anything related to business or economics should be handed one of, the largest economy in the world to govern, and he's done an abysmal job. And, as someone who spent, years as a professional salesperson, like working for companies like Xerox, I had that same excitement that I used to have when we had a dynamic, company leader come in and lead a district sales meeting, and it's like you just knew that you had somebody at the helm who knew what the hell he was doing, and you just trusted him. You knew that, you were just about to achieve success. And it's like, yeah, let me get out there and get into my territory and start, selling because, this is our guy. So much so that I think that Romney really needs to, be that guy out on the stump. Roll the sleeves down, put the jacket back on, put the tie back on. That's the guy that I think he needs to stay. I think going around at some of these rallies and trying to be hokey didn't work as well for him. That's who he really is, and that's one reason why I think he excelled. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, no, one of the things I thought he did great is on top of show his business skills and was talking about the tax breaks for companies that are trying to move overseas and run this.
The second topic, which is you said you get a deduction for taking a plant overseas. Look, I've been in business for 25 years. I have no idea what you're talking about. I maybe need to get a new accountant. But the idea that you get a break for shipping jobs overseas is simply not the case.
So, yeah. Just the fact that he threw out so quick, I thought was pretty good. And it kind of showed, and that was fairly early on, it showed his edge was there. And one of the things that Obama kept trying to do was say half-truths and somewhat lies at the end of his 2 minutes or the end of his responses, hoping that he'd be able to kind of blurt it out and the moderator would have to move on. And one of the things that Romney did I really liked is he wasn't giving in. He was saying, hey, don't go with half-truth or mostly a lie and expect me not to respond with what I believe, and he did it really well.
Yeah, I think he did a great job almost setting the tone of the debate right off the bat. When he looked at the president and said, congratulations on your country. I'm sure this isn't the most romantic place in the world, mine or where you would choose to be, something to that effect. And I think, number one, it showed class that he was able to say that to the president. Number two, it showed that he was able to be personable with the president and have that kind of relationship with him. And number three, it also kind of said, hey, you know what, I'm not intimidated by you. I can come out and be a man and say, hey, congratulations on something that's very personal to you, and almost own that, almost take even that away from the president by being the first one to bring it up and congratulate him and be gracious about it. So you know what, I believe him. I believe he's being sincere, but in his sincerity, I think he took control almost immediately. And I think that something that could seem that small can have a psychological impact on an opponent in a debate, and kind of set him off, because I don't think the president expected.
I think you're right. I think he outcharmed Obama, and I don't think Obama was expecting that. I think one of the things Romney did really well, in addition to displaying his mastery of business and economics and being an executive, was I think he dispelled a few myths, one of which is this dopey, tax breaks for people taking businesses overseas, but also this thing about likability. Because, we've been hearing about how, Romney's not likable, and Romney was far more likable in that debate than Obama was. And it started right off the bat with the congratulations, and it did come across as likable and warm and genuine and sincere and also relaxed. And I think you're right. I think he grabbed control with that early on, and it was just kind of downhill from there, for Obama.
Downhill from there. Hey, so why don't we do that? If it's with you, Andrea, we're going to take a break. We come back with a bunch of clips and discuss what was going on there. Does that work?
Sounds good to me.
All right, we'll be back in a minute with Sackheads Radio.
How you doing? John Grant here. When I'm not slaving over a hot microphone on the 405radio.com Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, I check out Shaun and Clint here at Sackheads Radio. We all appreciate the best political bloggers, writers, and commentators. We either get them on our shows or we make fun of them, as it should be. So check us out live Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern or forever on the podcasts on the 405radio.com.
Hey folks, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank the men and women of our armed forces, as well as our first responders, law enforcement, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for making this country and our communities a better and safer place. God bless.
Hi, this is Sarah Marie Brenner. We often talk on the Brenner Brief about the fact that there really needs to be an organization to help people at the local level who are interested in running for things like school boards, city council, and other local offices. Well, I think I finally have the solution for you, at least for you women out there. It's called Politigal Network, Politigal Network.com. Their website's going to be launching mid-August, but they're already on Twitter at PolitigalUSA. I encourage you to follow them and become a member. Their goal is to be the #1 resource for conservative women. So if you love freedom, liberty, the United States of America, and politics, check out PolitigalNetwork.com or Twitter at PolitigalUSA.
Hey guys, it's Shaun from Sackheads Radio. I know I've said it before. Check out our friends at conservativeoutcry.net, but I really mean it. You want interesting and exciting political commentary and analysis? That is the place to get it. Different, always spot on, always truthful, never pulling a punch. conservativeoutcry.net. Tell Rooster to get Bulldog back on and that Sackheads Radio sent you. And also, coming soon, the Sackheads Radio Forum on conservativeoutcry.net.
Hey guys, it's Shaun from Sackheads Radio. I want to talk to you a minute about our friends over at HomefrontHugs.com. They're an amazing organization of volunteers who take their time, effort, and money to take care of our troops overseas as they serve our great nation. HomefrontHugs.com. You can donate, write letters to troops, adopt a troop, you name it, you can do it. Help those wonderful folks who protect our freedoms. Go to HomefrontHugs.com. Tell them Sackheads Radio sent you.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank our men and women in uniform of the armed forces. Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank our men and women. Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank the men and women of our armed forces, as well as our... God.
You going to mention me this time?
Thank you, Shaun. You said mention you, right?
Oh.
So you totally need to keep that as an outtake.
Now back to Clint and Shaun on Sackheads Radio, radiating elegancy and quality.
So we're back to the show. We have Andrea Kaye on the phone. And for everyone who's listening, tell them where they can find you. Andrea, are you there?
I'm here.
So for everyone who's listening, tell them where they can find you, and then we'll get into the debate and the clips.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Sorry. For everyone who's listening, tell them where they can find your show down in...
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, Oh, thanks. I should have been paying closer attention. Yeah, my show Becker and Kaye is on Tuesday mornings on 10 a.m. Pacific time. We broadcast on AM 1450 in San Diego, 1510 in Orange County in the Inland Empire, and we stream live with a studio cam at www.financialnewsandtalk.com. So
and
you
I've
guys got to come on my
camera?
show sometime. It's
We were just talking about that at the break.
Yeah, it's financialnewsandtalk.com.
I have watched that camera, and you were by far the best looking one there.
What's that?
I said watch the camera before, and you were by far the best looking one there.
Well, I have to have the camera because our third co-host, Pickles, is always in the studio with us. So, unfortunately, if people want to see Pickles, they got to put up with seeing Becker. Right? A little Rip Toho.
And you were of the operation. That's what I'm remember too.
I think I might have lost you guys.
No, are you still there, Andrea?
Okay, there you are. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to start off, and I'm going to let Clip decide which clip he wants to play first, and we're going to discuss. I'm not going to go in particular order because anyone who's seen it knows, and we'll do it by order of importance.
You know what? Let's do 35.
What? Oh, the energy. Great clip.
I titled it, but not really on it.
Energy. Energy is critical, and the president pointed out correctly that production of oil and gas in the U.S. is up, but not due to his policies, in spite of his policies. Mr. President, all of the increase in natural gas and oil has happened on private land, not on government land. On government land, your administration has cut the number of permits and licenses in half. If I'm president, I'll double them and also get the oil from offshore in Alaska, and I'll bring that pipeline in from Canada.
So you have to, and one of the, I think the best thing there is, Obama tried to tout how much they've expanded energy, and he went right after them saying, hey, yeah, you may have done that, or that may have happened on private land, but you, the feds, haven't done anything for that. You haven't let anything to go on federal land.
Right. And one thing that I wish that Romney had mentioned is I'm from New Orleans, and, the BP oil spill, you remember the disaster that was the BP oil spill? And and not only did he ignore it for about 9 days, turn down offers of help from other countries, but he immediately issued a moratorium on drilling.
Yeah, and ended up shipping those jobs from the Gulf Coast. Brazil and Mexico wanted to drill in the Gulf in the same spots that he was saying, oh, no, we can't drill there. But they were actually drilling deeper, if I'm not mistaken, and taking our tax dollars to do so. So he was shipping those jobs completely out of the country and opening it up to countries outside of the U.S. to go in and drill. Exactly.
And, hats off to Mary Landrieu from Louisiana, because she's been one of the few people, she's the Democrat, and of course that's her constituency, but she's been one of the few people to bust the Obama administration on their lie that drilling permits are up under his administration. So, I thought Romney was brilliant with that. It was just one more nail in his coffin for Obama. I think that, and really, I think that's when I really noticed the stink eye that was going on with Obama. I haven't seen a nasty look of anger like was on Obama's face at that point. The last time I saw that, I think Betty Broderick drove her SUV through the front door of her husband's, house here in San Diego. You guys know that story? You familiar with Betty Broderick? I mean, that was one mad dude at that debate. Right?
Absolutely. He's used to being a dog, and he just got hammered. My favorite part of the whole debate, though, has to be the excuses that were made, specifically Al Gore. That was the best.
I have that clip.
Obama arrived in Denver at 2 p.m. today, just a few hours before the debate started. Romney did his debate prep in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to 5,000 feet,
exactly,
and you only have a few hours to adjust,
that's interesting.
I don't know, maybe kind
Training
of.
at altitude. Can I say the first time?
Here. Obama arrived in Denver.
Now, hang on a second. I have flown in non-pressurized aircraft above 5,000 feet. I have been scuba diving at altitude and had to worry about compression limits and altitude and so forth. And I don't believe my critical thinking has been affected because I was with other people on those trips and we were able to have lucid, intelligent conversations before and after.
Well, and I love the fact that every sib on that panel was agreeing.
Oh, yeah. 5,000 feet. Oh, yeah, it was the air.
Andrea, where did didn't he have some big speech in 2008?
He was there for a couple days.
What, did Obama have an excuse in 2008?
He was like at Mile High Stadium for a humongous rally in 2008.
Yeah, he did. That's where he accepted his nomination. He loves Denver.
Right. He didn't have any problem that night, it seems.
You know what? People have a hard time, intelligent people have a hard time thinking at altitude. There are no good educational institutions anywhere up there. We wouldn't train any men and women of armed forces, the future leaders of this country. Oh, wait, never mind. The Air Force Academy's up there. Never mind. Forget I said anything.
Well, but this guy he's the Messiah. He was, all the oceans were supposed to rise over this guy. So
well, yeah, if he's the Messiah, he should be up.
Issues.
Exactly.
Right? You know, come on. My favorite excuse was Willie Brown from San Francisco. Did you hear him?
No.
His excuse, Obama knew going in that he had to hold back, otherwise he would be accused of taking advantage of a lesser intellect.
Yeah.
So it was out of the graciousness of Obama that he, basically deferred to Romney. That was my favorite.
And then the stink eye that he followed up with is just to act, to cover up that he wasn't completely doing it, and so he had to look upset in addition to throwing it to make it seem legit. I think we're on to something.
How are you going to get that point home? How are you going to sell that lie unless you follow up with a good stink eye? And, what, stuttering a lot really helped. Looking down at the floor quite a bit, and not really. All that, I'll tell you, I bought it. I really bought it. I really thought that Romney should the floor, but apparently he was just being nice. I know the Rooster's in the chat room, and I talked to him on Twitter, and his theory is that Obama got the chum wagon just prior and possibly was under the influence. So, there's all.
Is that a double accusation?
No, it was just a thought.
Oh, just a thought. Okay.
Though with a accusation, who knows? But
Rooster just called for a congressional inquiry.
Well, Bob Woodward was on Hannity, and he says that he's very concerned that there's something very grave and serious going on that caused him to be distracted. And I don't know. Maybe Woodward needs to go dig up. Deep Throat. What was that? Wasn't that the name of the informant? To try to get to the bottom of it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's an anniversary.
I was thinking about something completely different.
He got an anniversary.
I'm sorry. Shaun was over here staring at me, and I apologize. What were we talking about?
Sadly, there was something grave going on. He was and that's what was going on.
Exactly.
That's a movie.
I think my theory is he was looking down so much because he wanted to avoid the hairy eyeball he was getting from Michelle. That was one unhappy woman.
Well, yeah, think about it. He goes off his anniversary, you go do a debate, And he gets there, you're like, all right, well, at least it's his thing. He has to do it. He'll do good, and then he'll buy me dinner afterwards. And he goes to the debate.
And then his wife's got a hairy eyeball. I mean, seriously, how much worse can it get for you?
So let's move on, because this is not going to go anywhere good.
Let's play.
Oh, we got Andrea. It looks like the call cut.
She'll call back. If you're still with us, please call back.
Please call back. Oh. And I know you call back because there you are right there. Andrea, welcome back to us. Andrea? Really had nothing else to talk about, so.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us at Six Packheads Radio.
No.
Hey, let's play that other clip. I want to get on this.
Absolutely.
Interesting would like you to crack.
Andrea, I'm live, but so let's go to this is Romney talking about.
There may not be as much of a focus on the fact that folks like myself, folks like Michelle, kids probably who attend University of Denver just don't have that option, and for us to be able to make sure that they've got that opportunity and they can walk through that door, that is vitally important, not just to those kids. It's how we're going to grow this economy over the long term.
So we're running out of time, gentlemen.
Jim,
so I think you have a chance. Yes, respond to that. Yes, sir,
Mr. President, you're entitled as a president of your own airplane and to your own house, but not to your own facts. All right, I'm not going to cut education funding. I don't have any plan to cut education funding and grants to go to people going to college. I'm planning on continuing to grow, so I'm not planning on making changes there. But you make a very good point, which is that the place you put your money just makes a pretty clear indication of where your heart is. You put $90 billion into green jobs. And I'm all in favor of green energy. $90 billion. That would have hired 2 million teachers. $90 billion. And these businesses, many of them have gone out of business. I think about half of them, of the ones that have been invested in, have gone out of business. A number of them happen to be owned by people who are contributors to your campaigns. Look, the right course for America's government, we're talking about the role of government, is not to become the economic player, picking winners and losers, telling people what kind of health treatment they can receive, taking over the health care system that has existed in this country for a long, long time and has produced the best health records in the world. The right answer for government is to say, how do we make the private sector become more efficient and more effective?
So he did I love the comment, you're entitled to your own house.
But not your own facts.
I thought that was great. And one of the things that I thought Romney did really good is he kept beating the importance of private sector, small business, and middle class. He did it again there.
And limited government.
Absolutely, and limited government.
And he nailed the president with, hey, listen, you're talking about education and you know where your money goes, where your heart is. You spent $90 billion on green energy, and about half of them have failed. And owners, I mean, that's a pretty big blow.
Yeah, that's a major call out. And I'll tell you right now, he took a beating on that. So I'm being told that Andrea is back on the line with us. Andrea, you there?
I'm here, live and well. was my deep throat joke too much? Is that what happened? You guys cut me off?
Oh, God, of course not.
I would never.
That's what you turned beet red. What are you talking about?
What it was is Big Brother watching. That's what it is.
No, you turned beet red and you start clicking buttons. Andrea, I don't know what he did or why he did it, but I thought it was great.
How come I end up being the sticker? Why does that always happen?
I don't know why you decided to hang up. Man purse.
Well, here I am. I'm back. You couldn't get rid of me.
So we just talked about the part where Romney said, we just listened around, you're entitled to your house, you plane, not your own set of facts. And he went into pretty much nailing him on delivering all the green jobs, all the money that Obama put in there. They were talking about health care and made the comment, you know where it is by where you put your money. You remember that line, Andrea, and what was your thought on that?
Are you talking about the line when he said about the $90 billion and how many teachers he could have hired with that $90 billion?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was staggering. I mean, when Romney wasn't just a master with the facts, it's the context and the perspective he was able to wrap around the facts. I mean, anybody could see that, one of the things that liberals like to use against conservatives, is the kids. Something's wrong with you if you don't want to pay more taxes, for schools, for education, for kids. That's schools. So for him to put it in that context, $90 billion, how many teachers could you have hired? I mean, it was, it was stunning, absolutely stunning.
I thought it was actually brilliant, and I thought that too, is when, like you said, with the whole teachers on the left, he had no rebuttal to that specific part. And
well, that's because you didn't play the whole clip.
Well,
I mean, you took the whole thing out of context. I don't believe you're being fair.
I've watched.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't have a comeback.
Well, I mean, what's he going to say? Solyndra was a good investment. I mean, what's he going to say? Every one of them's gone bankrupt. I think another one's going bankrupt this week. I mean, what he has no defense for his record.
Well, there goes all the jobs he created if another one goes bankrupt this week. God. I'll tell you,
right.
At this rate, nobody in this is going to be working.
Yeah, but it'll be perfect because the unemployment will come out and it'll be like 6 point something.
Right. I mean, well, since when did 7.8% unemployment become the benchmark for, American exceptionalism?
It's not, and but they're gonna point to the numbers, say, see, it took us 4 years, but it's a big ship and it's got a little rudder, and we've got to turn this thing on, and it's slow, but see, we're getting there. We need to keep going.
Dude, I love that statement. Big ship, little rudder. That's perfect.
Well, I mean, there's still 14%. I mean, I think these numbers today, I mean, Romney's got to call him out, got to call BS on that. I mean, the boobies on the Real Housewives of Orange County are more real than this jobless report that came out today. I mean, come on. Who's buying into the fact that they added fewer jobs in September, but the unemployment, rate went down? Come on, nobody's dumb enough to believe that, are they?
No, and it's going to be, and here's something that'll be really underreported when the equal adjustment comes out in about a week, like it normally does. The numbers are going to be up. I don't know if they'll be over 8, but I bet you minimum 7.9%. Because the amount of jobs they said they added just doesn't keep up with the growth of the workforce.
Right.
It just doesn't work out. So I don't understand how it could have gone down to 7.8.
The numbers.
Right.
I mean, seriously, you make numbers point to almost anything you want.
Well, let's take
make it point to.
What do you think it'll be?
Okay, now what are we talking about? Are we talking about re-employment, or are we talking about underemployment also?
Everything.
Right.
Underemployment, the whole thing?
Yeah.
I think we're close to 16%.
Okay. What do you think, when they adjust this report, what do you think it's going to come out? I agree with 15, 16%.
8.2.
8.2, Andrea?
You guys are more masters of, data than I am. You guys do more reading than I do. I mean, I tend to focus on the bigger picture, which to me, I heard 14.7 is the real number. Because to me, I don't think you can talk about unemployment without...
You cut up again. I was guessing, and I think we lost Andrea, unfortunately. I was saying probably it's going to be over 8, maybe 8.1. Rooster was saying 8.1 in the chat room, and we talked about this earlier today. Andrea, I'm going to keep the line open and just chime up. So I don't think this job, and we talked about it, I don't think this is going to be the accurate number. So why don't we move on to the next clip, which is going to be the $5 trillion tax cut response.
Top-down economics where folks at the top are doing well, so the average person making $3 million is getting a $250,000 tax break, while middle-class families are burdened further. That's not what I believe is a recipe for economic growth.
All right. What is the difference? Let's just stay on taxes.
Right.
Let's just stay on taxes for a moment here.
Well, but
what is the difference?
virtually everything he just said about my tax plan is inaccurate.
All right.
So if the tax plan he described were a tax plan I was asked to support, I'd say absolutely not. I'm not looking for a $5 trillion tax cut. What I've said is I won't put in place a tax cut that adds to the deficit. That's part one. So there's no economist can say Mitt Romney's tax plan adds $5 trillion if I say I will not add to the deficit with my tax plan. Number two, I will not reduce the share paid by high-income individuals. I know that you and your running mate keep saying that, and I know it's a popular thing to say with a lot of people, but it's just not the case. Look, I got 5 boys. I'm used to people saying something that's not always true, but just keep on repeating it and ultimately hoping I'll believe it. But that is not the case, all right? I will not reduce the taxes paid by high-income Americans. And number 3, I will not, under any circumstances, raise taxes on middle-income families. I will lower taxes on middle-income families.
So, and I think Andrea's back on the line. If you're there, Andrea, say hi.
I'm here.
I played that part of the clip just because I knew you were calling back in. That was your whole I have 5 boys comment, which was one of my favorites of the night.
That was perfect timing. I don't know where I was in my soliloquy when my phone went out again. But, no, that was my favorite clip of the debate, and I think it's because, you know, Obama was determined to keep repeating that, you know, lie over and over, and Romney not only shut him down, you know, took about $50 million of advertising, you know, budget away from Obama because he's been running ads on that lie, and he shut him down in such a way that was personable, funny, engaging, warm. He called him a liar without calling him a liar. To me, it was brilliant.
Well, yeah, no, I thought his whole approach on that was good. Clint?
You know, Obama keeps doing this $5 trillion figure around, and then he talks about another $2 trillion on top of it, which is going to add $7 trillion to the debt. And Romney wasn't the only time in the debate that he called him out on his misguided facts regarding $5 trillion, and he did it in a way that was funny. But he also did very heard some background a little bit. Maybe people thought it was a bit harsh, but I think that he needed to. Look, I think Romney handled this debate all around, not only from his fact how he defended his position in a very vigorous and with facts to support his position and facts to tear down the president's position, but he also did so with some stinging blows that I believe were there to get in the president's head a little bit and throw him off his game, because Obama doesn't like to be put down, belittled, or have little dabs at him, or be made to look like a fool. He is used to being in control. He's president of the United States, and the guy has a huge ego, I'm sure, as most major politicians do. I know. So the fact that Romney, the little things like, look, it's in the details, very detail-oriented person, and the fact that he take time to do something small like, we discussed it already, congratulate him on his anniversary, or do that little dig saying, have 5 boys, almost calling him a child or childlike, and hey, you know, they repeat this thing enough so hopefully I'll believe it, like that's a childish thing to do without coming out and saying he's a kid. These barbs, I believe, were designed not only to illustrate a harsh point and in a very good way, and almost draw a parallel between what Americans and parents can kind of identify with, but also to jab the president and to keep him on his game, because he really got in his head. He got it a few different ways, and he did it throughout the night. And I think that was part of his strategy, and it was brilliant. You had that throwing the president off his game and really kind of winning that little psychological battle that was taking place in that debate. But he also had the numbers to back up his position, and it worked for him. I mean, Obama had absolutely nothing. He was unable to recover. He was unable to gain his composure or to get any kind of steam going, even to start some of that Obama charm going on. At one point, he tried talking to the American people as opposed to responding to Romney, and he couldn't even get get that going for him.
Literally the elephant in the room.
Yeah,
He just does not want to look
or
at
the donkey because he's a Democrat. Listen,
Right.
don't put down the Oakland Athletics or the Republican Party by comparing him to an elephant.
And I think that one of the things he brought out last night without saying it is, and I don't think anyone in the GOP will say this other than the pundits, including me right now, it pointed out what happens when he gets off his teleprompter, he being the president. He's not, I don't think, as quick-witted as everyone says he is. And I'm not saying he's a dumb man, but I don't think he thinks on his feet like everyone gives him credit for. Let's face it, mainstream media thrown him softball for 4 years.
Yeah, he gave a great speech, and he can be very personable. He has a personality and a charisma that he's able to really exploit and put out there, and very charming man. However, once he gets off that script, and I believe he has a difficult time kind of formulating the right words to put together to a mainstream America. Look, he can address SEIU or some of the major unions. He can address the false crowd very easily because I believe that is in his heart. If you look at the speeches he's given those organizations, like his SEIU speech, hey, I fight for you. He believes that. He's easy to go off script, but when he's talking about things like he was trying to talk about in this debate, hey, I want to give tax breaks to the middle class, and small businesses are important to me. I don't feel that he really believes that. So those are more difficult points for him to speak about without a telephone, not speak from the heart.
I think that's a good point because I think that part of his problem also was, in addition to having a record that's indefensible, part of the reason why his record is indefensible is because of what his agenda really is. And when he doesn't have the prompter, he can, that's when he has a gaffe and actually spills the beans on what his real, agenda is, like the "you didn't build that" statement that he made, which revealed, very much about, the Marxist mindset that he has. So I don't know if, if
you got
a little bit of him.
You didn't build that.
Right. And in fact, I'm wondering why Romney didn't bring that up and bring that into the equation. I get that he wanted to focus a lot on jobs, but to me, that's what the central theme of the convention was. And, maybe there just wasn't a way to work it in, but, I think when there was the discussion about the role of government, I kind of thought that would have been a good time to get into that. What are your thoughts?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think that I don't believe that the American people nowadays, which is unfortunate, and Shaun, you may disagree with me, Andrew, you may disagree with me. I don't believe the general public, the American people, really understand or care what it means for somebody in a leadership position to be a Marxist in this country. I think that we are separated from communist era, that people don't really study Marxism or communism and understand the historical context of those regimes. They don't read Mao. They don't study. I mean, we have T-shirts with Che Guevara on the front, celebrating Chairman Mao and celebrating Che Guevara and these communist revolution. I don't believe people read Marx and study Marx versus founders and really kind of understands what it is that it means. So I think when the term Marxist, while moderate, I think when that's thrown out there, people think that it's kind of a throwback to a bygone era. Ideals don't really exist. They're not really Marxist or revolutionaries fighting for poor, oppressed people because that's how it's presented in schools. So I don't think that it rings true with most people what that really means.
Right.
That was weird.
How about somehow crafting it to remind people, because people were outraged by the "you didn't build that." So, I would like to see him at some point take an opportunity to remind people that with his business background, he knows what it means and what's involved with being a business owner and starting one and having to meet a payroll and worrying about your employees and being there for them. I know that he was wanting to speak to the independents and the workers and show how much he cares about people it's a tough balance to do that and show that you understand the perspective from the business owner. So how do you get that message out?
Well, I think that it was intentional. He's not using it right now. I think that was probably on the list of things to go out last night, but he didn't need it. And that's a big one.
That's true.
One of the things I don't believe the campaign is doing very well, I would like to do more of, is framing things in terms that most people look. I think there are a lot of people that have more conservative values, but maybe specifically because their union leaders say, if you want it paid and you want to keep benefits and you want to keep food on your table, you need to vote this way. You need to vote for President Obama. But nobody in this country likes to be told to do. I don't care if you're an occupier, a Tea Party person, or who you are. Nobody wants to be told what they can and cannot do, or told what choices that you have this choice. You have to go with X or Y. But I want Z. No, you can't have Z because I don't want you to have it. Nobody wants to be told what to do. And I think if the Republicans, specifically Romney, put it in those, I don't want to say dumbed down terms, but put it in that more simplistic of, hey, listen, if we all go to a government healthcare system, government is going to, somebody else is going to tell you what to do. Somebody else is going to tell you how to act. Somebody else is going to tell you what you can and cannot buy. You're going to have less personal choices as opposed to saying the man's a Marxist or the man's that, because I think that rings more true to people who don't really follow politics. I don't believe America follows politics today, which is why this race is as close as it is.
Right.
Whereas hey, you're not going to have a choice. This isn't scare tactics. You're going to have a choice. Your personal liberty is going to be taken away. Instead of saying, you know what, no, you're not going to have a choice. You're going to have to pick it. Somebody else is going to tell you what to do. And
in a generation, and maybe 2 generations, when that choice was never there, they never lose it, so they were okay with it.
Exactly.
Not taught how it should be. So people 2 generations from now will be like, what do you mean we've always gotten government help?
Well, look at the difference now from when the progressive movement started in the late 1800s, early 1900s to where we are now, and what we accept now. I mean, you know, when we talk about when they started the direct election of senators, really how that negatively impacted the state sovereignty, and it's perfectly acceptable now. But gosh, back when our country was founded, that would have been unheard of. The states were going to give up their sovereignty by allowing the popular election of senators. Right. And I mean, that's just one example. I could come with, I don't want to say a million because somebody's going to call me on that, but it's several examples of how that is.
Yeah, no, it's again, and I'm sure to a point, I know for a fact to a point that we feel it now where we're not outraged about certain things that, say, my father or my grandfather would be absolutely. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. Andrea, you mind hanging on with us?
Oh, sure. I'd love to.
Take a break, play a couple more clips. I also have a super special guest on the line, and we're going to have him come in and say hi. I'm sure he wants to say hi to Andrea because he certainly doesn't want to say hi to me. So we'll talk about that when we get back. And, yeah, Kids Radio.
Hey, it's Sackhead Shaun. It's time for the Wicked Pissin' News.
A preliminary investigation has found friendly fire likely was to blame in a shooting that killed one federal agent and wounded another along the Arizona-Mexico border, according to the FBI on Friday, shaking up the probe into an incident that reignited the political debate over border security. There are strong preliminary indications that the death of United States Border Patrol agent J. Nicholas Ivey and the injury to a second agent was the result of an accidental shooting incident involving only the agent. That information coming from the FBI in a statement. Vanessa Fields, Sackheads Radio News. Mitt Romney was still celebrating his widely praised debate performance when the campaign lurched into a different direction. Unemployment dropped last month to the lowest level since 2009, and suddenly it was President Barack Obama's turn to smile. Sasquatch might as well have traipsed across the White House lawn Friday with the Lost Warren Commission file on his way to the studio where NASA staged the moon landing. Conspiracy theories came out in force after the government reported a sudden drop in the United States unemployment rate 1 month before Election Day. Their message? The Obama administration would do anything to ensure a November victory, including manipulating unemployment data. Millions of people get steroid shots in their backs to relieve pain. Now they're probably wondering if it's safe. In 23 states, hundreds, possibly even thousands of back pain patients are being warned to watch for symptoms of meningitis because of a custom mixed steroid solution that may have been contaminated with fungus. 5 people have died and more than 40 others have fallen ill. Radical preacher Abu Hamza al-Masuri and 4 other terrorist suspects who fought for years to avoid facing charges in the United States lost their grounds for appeal and were flown to the U.S. from Britain late Friday, according to officials. The U.S. Embassy said it was pleased with the ruling earlier Friday by Britain's High Court, and Scotland Yard said the 5 departed from an Air Force base in eastern England just before midnight on 2 jets bound for the U.S. The Haqqani insurgent network, based in Pakistan with ties to al-Qaeda, is suspected of being a driving force behind the significant number of the insider attacks by Afghan forces that have killed or wounded more than 130 U.S. and allied troops this year, according to American officials on Friday. Until now, officials have said that the attacks seem to stem either from personal grievances against the allies or from Taliban infiltration. The Taliban has publicly claimed to be orchestrating the campaign to subvert the U.S.-Afghan alliance. California gas prices continued to surge on Friday, adding another 17 cents per gallon on average, and the increases are expected to continue for at least several more days, ensuring long lines and short tempers at pumps around the state. A week of soaring costs have led some stations to close and others to charge record prices, in some places $5 or more, as California now leapfrogged Hawaii as the state with the most expensive fuel. The average price for a gallon of regular unleaded across California was nearly $4.49 on Friday, 32 cents more than a week ago and the highest statewide average in the nation. And that's according to AAA's daily fuel gauge report. I'm Vanessa Fields for Sackheads Radio News.
Now back to Clint and Shaun on Sackheads Radio, radiating elegancy and quality.
And we're back with Andrea. Andrea, you still there?
I'm still here.
All right, and we do have a special guest, and today's special because he got a little hurt. I think that I haven't called him a special guest in the past, but when I pushed the show out today, I pushed it out that Andrea was a special guest. Rooster, sir, my special guest, my special little friend. Are you on the show?
Hey, Rooster, what do you think of my rant on people cutting in lines at Disneyland?
Your microphone's breaking up. I couldn't catch that.
Did you hear it? Clint's rant on the people in line at Disneyland?
No, you people changed the damn time on me again. And
Whoa. What do you mean, you people? Why is everything about race with you? Wow, Rooster was speechless. I think that first.
Hey, you got him.
Quick, hang up. You can't say you people like that.
Rooster, how you doing?
Hey, Rooster, are you there?
I'm here. How are you, Andrea?
Oh, I'm so happy to talk to you. It's been a while. Hey, I heard you weren't feeling so great a while back. Are you better now?
I'm better. Yeah, actually, I was in the hospital for a while.
Oh, I'm
glad I got in now.
Yeah. Well, you're out just in time for this debate this week, huh?
Yeah. Well, I was actually referring to Obamacare because I'm an older man, and had I needed something from someone, I probably wouldn't have qualified.
Well, I'll try to put in a good word for you with the death panels at some point, if that kicks in. So I'll try to do my best.
Shaun, punctuation. Punctuation tells a lot about a man.
Hey, Rooster, how you doing? What's going on tonight, buddy?
He's talking about punctuation. Did you misspell something again?
Oh, God.
What?
Everything. I misspell everything, all right? Like, I pointed this out earlier.
You do. I fixed your poll for you.
That's good. It needed.
You fixed his poll?
I thought you were talking about something else, Rooster. And I was going to say that is a good friend.
Hey, we talked about it earlier, and I want to thank you again for start with the petition.
I stole half that from everybody else. I mean, enough's been written about it that you don't have to rewrite it. So I'm sitting here listening to you guys. I'll listen to the first part of the show later. But
God, it's all for you. What are you talking about?
It was.
Well, a lot of it.
Don't count Obama out yet.
No,
nobody's counting Obama out. I'm voting for him. I'm just kidding. I'm not.
The next debate is his cup of tea, and if Mitt doesn't bring it, then Mitt's got the facts on his side, but he's not comfortable in that forum.
No, I agree, and it'll be interesting to see. And here's another factor too that I think we should keep in mind. I talked to somebody today who considers themselves independent, and we were talking about the debate, and he said, tell me everything that you think that we said that was right. And I went through the whole list of things, and I also went through things I thought Obama said wrong, which we talked about. I've given reasons why I would not vote for Obama, and I'll be the first one. I was lukewarm to Romney at the beginning. I lived in Massachusetts while he was there. He wasn't a bad governor, but just not the conservative that we were hoping for. I am warming up more to him. And not because he's a conservative, but I think he's starting to take gloves a little bit. And I gave all the reasons why I would vote for Romney. And his business history is one of the big ones. And I put the question back to my friend. I said, hey, why are you going to vote for Obama? And I had no answer. The only thing that he could say at the end was he didn't want to have one party control come November if the Republicans take the Senate and the House. And I thought that was the weakest answer. But he said he's, in the same breath, almost literally, that he's not one to vote for incumbents when we're talking about local elections. So there are a lot of people out there who are just going to vote for him because it's him.
Outside of killing Big Bird, I think my favorite line of the excuse me.
Don't die, Rooster.
No, I'm not. Was when Mitt explained how he met with both sides of the aisle every Monday.
Yeah.
Almost as if he were chiding Obama.
Yeah, I know.
That's what he should be doing.
Got a really good dig in there. Showed that he was able to, and he said it himself, I don't have to sacrifice in order to work with the other side. And, if you're going to do that in a state, being a Republican governor, Massachusetts is one of the toughest ones doing it. And I think it was 88% Democrats that were in the House and Senate at the time. So he definitely was able, he's not a hardline conservative. We've all established that before.
But he's not Obama.
Right.
Look, I mean, four more years of Obama will destroy this country as we know it, I believe. And he, look, while at first during the primaries I may have gone with another candidate, at this point Romney is the candidate. He's the one who has the best shot, the only shot to beat Obama. And I mean, that's where the support needs to be, even for Ron Paul supporters and so forth.
I think the example that I wanted to give is Romney was the Republican in Massachusetts. Everybody was a Democrat. They didn't want to work with any Republican. When Republicans got in there, Bill was the last one before. The Republicans got in there. It was a hard line. Nobody really wanted to get in. And then Romney came in, and he was able to, if you will, be Bill Clinton with getting across the aisle. So, Rooster, if you I'm going to get back to playing the clips because there's a couple more we'll get to.
Okay.
But you want super special guests, right? And nothing.
Mr. President.
Well, we've had this discussion before.
About the idea that in order to reduce the deficit, there has to be revenue in addition to cuts.
There has to be revenue in addition to cuts. Now, Governor Romney has ruled out revenue. He's ruled out revenue.
Absolutely.
Completely.
Okay, so the revenue I get is by more people working, getting higher pay, paying more taxes. That's how we get growth and how we balance the budget. Right. But the idea of taxing people more, putting more people out of work, you'll never get there. You never balance the budget by raising taxes. Spain.
Now, I think Ron made a mistake there. When Obama said you have revenue and revenue, and he says absolutely, I think he made a mistake. That he has revenue, but the way he wants to do it is by having more people in the workforce paying taxes, not fewer people pay a higher tax rate. So he is doing it through revenue. He's getting it through new revenue sources. So the fact that he says absolutely he's against revenue and that one I think was a potential mistake. And finish the clip.
Let's see. I am probably going to have to restart the phone. I apologize for that.
Stop calling. It's our show.
So we go.
Mr. President.
Well, we've had this discussion before.
About the idea that in order to reduce the deficit, there has to be revenue in addition to cuts.
There has to be revenue in addition to cuts. Now, Governor Romney has ruled out revenue. He's ruled out revenue.
Absolutely.
Completely.
Okay, so, the revenue I get is by more people working, getting higher pay, paying more taxes. That's how we get growth and how we balance the budget. Right. But the idea of taxing people more, putting more people out of work, you'll never get there. You never balance the budget by raising taxes. Spain spends 42% of their total economy on government. Okay. We're now spending 42% of our economy on government. I don't want to go down the path to Spain. I want to go down the path of growth that puts Americans to work with more money coming in because they're working.
But Mr. President, you're saying in order to get the job done, it's got to be balanced.
If we're serious, we've got to take a balanced, responsible approach. And by the way, this is not just when it comes to individual taxes. Let's talk about corporate taxes. Now, I've identified areas where we can right away make a change that I believe would actually help the economy. The oil industry gets $4 billion a year in corporate welfare. Basically, they get deductions that those small businesses that Governor Romney refers to, they don't get. Now, does anybody think that...
So, and he uses the word there at the end. He says corporate welfare. And that drives me crazy because how a lot of people on the right are talking to people off of welfare and getting people back to work. That was an intentional line that he dropped in order to equate the oil companies to welfare and make people think along those lines.
Yeah, but one of the things he doesn't talk about is, and I only would have said it in the response, what the exact profit margin is of those big companies. I believe it's traveling 9%, which is low for a profit margin. So, yeah, but they bring in $1 billion. Well, yeah, their expenditure and their output, and their profit margin is like 9%. That's not a huge profit margin compared to Apple, which puts Apple's profit margin 44%, I believe. Really? Okay, let's go after Apple. I mean, why are we going after? Well, oil is evil. They're billions of dollars. Well, 9% profit margin.
And it's and I'm gonna let Andrea chime in and Rooster, but it's one of those things too we talked about earlier. Money he dumped in the green, and that was okay, but you.
And that was at the end of that clip. He talks about Romney hits him with that.
But it's just ridiculous. Andrea, what was your thought on that?
Well, I mean, first of all, my thought is that Jim Lehrer is, trying to, be the underwire bra, of support for Obama in the debate. It's ridiculous. Okay, he's trying to help him along. But I also think it was pretty clear what Romney was saying. that, even though he could have said, when he said no revenue, I think it was pretty clear he meant he's not just going to try to increase revenue by raising taxes, that doesn't work, that he's going to try to do it in the way that Reagan did it, which was, through revenue streams coming in from putting people back to work. I thought he made that pretty clear. I think that, it was almost like a lamb being led to slaughter, though, when Obama just seemed so like, oh, I'm going to get Romney here by talking about the corporate welfare with the oil, companies, and then, he just, got pimp slapped, with the $90 billion for green, so I think, I think it was just, brilliant the way it ended up going down for Romney there.
Yeah, no, and I don't know how much of that was by design and leading there on purpose or what, but it worked out well. Rooster, your thoughts on that clip?
Yeah, it's kind of like my wife when she goes to the store and she finds something on sale and she goes, but it was on sale and I saved $20. The way to generate revenue is not more government workers, and that's what Obama's doing. He's putting everybody back to work for the government. So we pay them $100 and they give us back $20. We're still out $80.
Right. Exactly. You know what? I have a new war, a new jihad, as it were. I think we need to go after publishing companies. Do you realize that their profit margin is 53.1%? We need all that money for.
ConservativeOutcry.net will issue a fatwa.
You know what? Let's issue a fatwa on publishing companies because, wouldn't the New York Times be considered like a periodical or a publishing company?
Absolutely.
When I'm looking at a statistic, ConsumerEnergyReport.com has profit margins lifted, and periodicals is 53.1%, and all the way down, major integrated oil and gas only 7.9%. So I was actually high when I said 9%. So I apologize.
But oil is just so evil.
It's evil. Evil oil.
Evil, no. Evil because the green people don't like it. That's why it's evil.
And I think Romney missed an opportunity to hit him with that right there.
To hit him with what?
The profit margin of the oil and gas companies, I thought it was 9%. It's actually 7 point something versus Apple, which I believe is around 44%. The publishing industry net profit margin, according to Consumer Energy Reports, is 53.1%.
I think Romney also could have talked about the revenue that the U.S. government gets from the oil companies in terms of their taxes and what they pay. Not to mention the fact that he did correct Obama, if I remember right, that Obama was saying it was 4-point-something billion a year, and it's 2. I think that was when he came back with the 50 years. That was 50 years of subsidies. So I would have liked to hear him talk about subsidizing the flukers myself. When are we going to get to talking about the entitlement mentality that's going on? But I don't know that he really is going to be able to get to that. But everybody was saying that Obama's getting pressure to pull out that 47%. Video of Romney, and it's coming at some point. I thought I read today that Romney has responded by saying that it was wrong and he's apologizing. What have you guys heard on that, and how do you think he should respond?
I don't believe he should apologize at all. Look, those 7% that aren't paying any tax, they're not going to vote for him. So why apologize for it? He said something that is, let's face it, probably true. And if they're not going to vote for him anyways, why apologize for something that he said? And of that 47%, how many are going to vote? I don't know. How many are eligible to vote? So why are you going to walk a statement back that, look, I believe he said that 47%, they're probably not going to vote for him anyways. Right. So what are you going to apologize for? I don't understand. I don't know what you're apologizing for.
Coined in a way like those damn 47%, or those lowlifes, the 47%. All he really said was, hey, you know what? The people who are his base aren't going to vote for me.
Which is a true statement.
A true statement. And I know people's feelings got hurt because
They wanted to
Too bad.
They wanted to admit that he was degrading them versus stating a fact, but he was stating a fact.
Yeah.
But as always, it's funny how the 2007 video of him talking to New Hampton's college, the social media, liberal media rather, kind of dumped into the toilet and flushed and only showed half of it. But that comment with Romney, and they're blowing it out, saying he's a rich guy, he doesn't care about the poor people, blah, 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 blah. They were so quick to throw that out. Again, it was a mainstream media blow up, and a lot of people swallowed those.
I think the fact that he didn't bring it up in the debate, he's not going to be able to now.
Yeah.
He can't do it in the next debate, and he certainly can't do it in the foreign affairs debate. So he lost his chance.
Well,
but I did. He apologized on Hannity's show, I think, Andrea.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
I read that he apologized somewhere. I mean, he said it. It's fact-based because that's what Obama's done. He's divided up, people into categories and told them they're victims of, the boogeyman, which is the conservatives, and then he's offered them, entitlements, and that's why he still has the 47%. But it's a hard thing to explain in a debate. But and I personally think that Obama didn't go there because Obama likes to try to propagate that false he's a nice guy thing, and he likes to leave the nasty stuff to a surrogate. And
he does well.
Well, and now the surrogates say Mitt's a liar, and you can't take that back. So once you call somebody a liar, that's fixed, and I don't think that's going to go over well with anybody.
I don't think it's a problem at all for Romney to say, you know what, yeah, I meant it, because those people are going to vote for me. They're in the bag for you. 44 million people on food stamps. They're probably going to vote for me either because I don't want to give them free stuff. So, yeah, what's the problem?
Now there's some mines. It's going to be a minefield a little bit for Romney at this next debate because it's going to involve social issues, and like with women. What are your guys' thoughts on this upcoming debate and how Romney should handle some of these mines that are out there for him?
He should open with a dirty joke.
That's degrading.
That's degrading.
Yeah, I should open with a dirty joke, which is degrading. A degrading, dirty joke, I think, would be a great opening. I was agreeing with you.
I love it, Rooster. You have one in mind?
I'll tell you a true story.
I don't.
Back when I was
dog dare you.
No. Back when I was in high school, I once told a girl that I could tell what her date of birth was simply by groping her breasts. and after some discussion, she let me do it. And then she goes, okay, now tell me when I was born. I said, well, apparently yesterday.
You know what? Now that's funny because I don't know where you grew up. My mom tells a story about this guy when she was in high school who said that he could tell. Never mind. Yeah, it's too much.
That's not a true story. It's an actual joke. But Mitt should come out and say, no, I don't want to buy your birth control. It's not that expensive. How you go? Most of the bars here in D.C., they've got a little jar right on the bar that's filled with condoms. They're free.
Yeah, you know what else is another good way for birth control? Yeah, no.
Well, there's only one good way.
That works. There's actually a few good ways.
Right.
But no, I'll draw a picture and send it to you.
I think you should be straightforward. You shouldn't try to stir anything. You shouldn't try to sidestep it. Everyone knows that this is where the liberals have a tendency to drive this home. They're going to point out everything that everyone on the left hates about conservatives. Punch through it, say, hey, yeah, you know what, this is what I believe, X, Y, and Z. Get to the other side of the debate. Just get through it to the, don't defy, don't lie, but don't give more than you need to.
Why not be weaselly like Obama was, who said to Rick Warren when asked about abortion, that's above his pay grade, and he refused to give the answer. You know, I mean, I think Republicans need to start being a little bit smarter with this stuff. You know, Rich Santorum kind of, created, some problems for the party with some of his statements. And I like him a lot, don't get me wrong. But, how about, dummying up and being smart, okay? I'm not suggesting that lie, but I think that, or even, I think, it's like you said, try to get to the other side, when asked, I mean, are you there?
Yeah, I think if people feel he's being evasive, or if they feel that he's not being as forthright right now after how he was the other night in Denver, they're going to look at it as lies.
That's true. Well, he could say, "Look, my position on being pro-life is the same as what Obama said his was, in 2008," or he could say, my position on gay marriage is the same as what Obama's was, up until 6 months ago.
Yeah,
but that's the problem with this debate coming up, is that these type of questions are to come up, and he can hurt himself.
It's a loaded debate.
Exactly.
It's a loaded debate if you're a conservative, and anyone who does this type of debate is a conservative.
I agree that it's potentially loaded, but I think a good way to settle that is by saying, look, I don't believe that the federal government has a role in these private choices. I think it's an individual matter, and quite frankly, I don't believe federal dollars should be going for birth control. I don't believe federal dollars should be going to fund abortions. However, what the states do under the 10th Amendment, they have a state's rights to do. And I'm running president of the United States, not of a particular state, and I don't believe the federal government has a role. I think that's a very easy out.
See, you know what? I think that's perfect. I think that's a great answer. I think we've just brainstormed it, for him. What do you think, Rooster?
It's either that, or we're going to go. You can say, wait a while. We'll go the way China does it, and you can have one kid, and that's it.
Well, yeah.
So, overall, the debate. Obviously, I think everyone agrees that Romney had a great showing. He quote unquote won the debate. The next one, he's going to take his lumps. There's no doubt about it.
Unless he pulls that, hey, federal government, look, he threw the Medicare thing to the state. He threw the education thing to the states. If he throws these other issues to and say federal, look, you can hold true to conservative principles by saying federal tax dollars will not go to fund abortions, federal tax dollars will not fund stem cell research, federal tax dollars will not go to support birth control and choices when you decide to sleep with somebody. Look, that I think that he himself, he says that last one, but if you take it out of the women's choice abortion arena and just put it to a federal versus a states' rights issue and throw it back on the states, I think he avoids a whole lot of pitfalls, and he stays consistent with his themes from the first debates. And I think that the Romney team should download the Sackho's radio clip and listen to this maybe over and over again. And I'll be available by phone.
Right. Be sure to send a copy to Ron Nearing. You guys know Ron. Send him a copy. But no, I think that's perfect and that truly is the conservative viewpoint, which is, we're a republic, and I think that he can please the conservatives by saying I'm pro-life, but this is a state, choice issue. And as for the birth control, no Republican or conservative is trying to deny a woman access to birth control. It's about who's supposed to pay for it, and it's a personal responsibility. And certainly, no religious organization should be forced to, go against their religious belief by paying for something, and it's $9 a month. And then I think he needs to move on to the fact that other than that, women's issues are the same as anybody else. It's really economic. If somebody's complaining they can't afford $9 birth control, that's an economic issue.
Yeah, and then he can throw that.
That's to be solved with jobs, right?
Yeah, I agree, and he could also throw that back to the states by saying, hey, if you can't have a job to afford that, and the state wants to subsidize that, live in a state like California or Massachusetts or New York, then great, the state has the right to do that. However, if you don't agree that your state or your tax dollars should go there, then do like Reagan said and vote with your feet and go to a state that doesn't send tax dollars to those programs. But it's not a federal issue. I agree with you, Andrea. I think you can turn that around, frame it in a states' rights argument. The federal government doesn't have a role, and then throw it back to the economy.
Right. I agree. We only have a couple minutes left, and would you rather hear Chris Matthews losing it over the Obama?
Oh yeah, no, that's not even an or.
Or Cutter, Stephanie Cutter being ripped apart by Aaron Burnett on CNN.
So the Andrea decide.
Andrea, it's your choice.
I want to hear Chris Matthews.
All right, here we go.
Well, this tonight wasn't an MSNBC debate, was it? It just wasn't. It had none of the things you mentioned. It didn't mention all the key fighting points of this campaign. And certainly there was no Bobby Kennedy in the green room before Barack Obama came out tonight. I don't know what he was doing out there. He had his head down. He was enduring the debate rather than fighting it. Romney, on the other hand, came in with a campaign. He had a plan. He was going to dominate the time. He was going to be aggressive. He's going to push the moderator around, which he did effectively. He was going to relish the evening, enjoying it. Nothing to do with the words he spoke. Here's my question for Obama. I know he likes to say he doesn't watch cable television, but maybe he should start. Maybe he should start. I don't know how he let Romney get away with the crap he threw out tonight about Social Security. Listen to the stuff he got away with. He said, emergency room. The latest thing we got from Romney, because he said so, is, you know what I want to do with people when they're poor? Shove them in the emergency room. Why didn't Obama say that? Why didn't he say that? You talk about Social Security, Medicare people, they're part of your 47%. You want to drop them from the list of eligible Americans. You don't have any care for these people. What are you talking about? We've got it on tape, Governor. We got it on tape what you think of these people. Don't come out here and pretend you care about old people because you met somebody at some campaign event. You've written off 47% of the country before you even started. Where was Obama tonight? He should watch, well, not just...
that's okay. And then I'm just going to take my ball and go home. You people suck.
That just never gets old. It just never gets old hearing that.
And there's nothing better than a Chris Matthews meltdown. My nephew actually sent me that in Facebook, because that clip is actually up on my site right now, and in the subject line he wrote, Romney took Obama for a ride on top of his car.
All right, well, we only have 2 minutes left.
Hey, how long's that other clip?
Too long.
How long?
It's like 3.5.
Dang it!
You ought to get the Alan West clip and listen to that.
I had it. We don't have time. We got to go. We got to wrap up. We only have 2 minutes. Andrea Kaye, thank you so much for joining us as a special guest.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's always an honor to be with you, and especially to chat with Rooster.
and one more time, Andrew. Where can they find you?
What's that?
One more time. Where can our listeners find you?
Oh, Becker and Kay, we broadcast on Tuesday mornings, 10 a.m. Pacific time on AM 1450 in San Diego.